Hello, my name is Kayon Raymondville, candidate number 2357, and today I will be addressing the issue of human trafficking in the state of Florida regarding government intervention. In this presentation, I will be reflecting on events and statistics of human trafficking in Florida in the past and even now. I will also be assessing the solutions to human trafficking being utilized in Florida as well as in other countries. Then finally, I will be suggesting new solutions that I think could have a positive effect on the movement to stop human trafficking in Florida. Human trafficking involves the use of force or coercion to obtain some type of labor or commercial sex act. As seen in the graph, the process of human trafficking consists of traffickers first using one of the shown methods to get their victims, then they in some way, whether by force or voluntarily, convince their victims to do what they want, then exploit them, and this is usually done for money. Traffickers can turn up profits as high as $32 billion annually. Each year there are millions of victims that fall prey to human trafficking, from women to men and even children. Human trafficking is often confused with human smuggling because they both consist of moving people secretly. The differences between the two are seen in this graph. Trafficking is usually done by force and is usually a crime against the person. Smuggling is consensual and is a crime against the country, and other differences are shown here. Victims of human trafficking often suffer from psychological or emotional vulnerability, economic hardship, lack of a social safety net, natural disasters, and political instability. Victims of trafficking often do not come forward or even identify as victims due to vulnerability factors such as a potential language barrier or a fear and or distrust of authority figures. All statistics regarding human trafficking are from reports, so it's impossible to know how many more people are fighting the same battle. Florida is currently ranked third for human trafficking reports after California and Texas. As seen in the diagrams, Florida has 1,887 victims identified, along with 427 traffickers and 243 trafficking businesses. The state has a total of 896 trafficking cases just in 2019 alone. Trafficking victims can range anywhere from women to men to even children. This graph shows a demographic of victims of human trafficking. It is seen that women and girls are more likely to be trafficked than men and boys. 51% of victims are women, 21% are men, 20% are girls, and 8% are boys. Regarding child victims, homeless youth are more likely to fall into trafficking. 1 in 5 children experiencing homelessness had been victims of sex or labor trafficking, or both. Some steps currently being taken by the Florida government to stop trafficking are the Highway Heroes movement, the 100% Club, and budget approvals. The Highway Heroes movement aims to equip commercial driver's license holders with the certification to be able to spot and report trafficking on the highway. The 100% Club consists of companies that agree to training their employees and providing them with quick reference resources to easily report human trafficking. Governor Ron DeSantis is providing $4.5 million in the 2025 budget to go toward expanding access to emergency beds for victims of human trafficking and providing additional supporting staff, as well as a $900,000 grant opportunity through the Department of Children and Families. This is to enhance training for law enforcement officers who respond to human trafficking incidents. Florida is not solving the root of the problem. This fact is true because the state of Florida's approach to this issue is getting volunteers to observe and report instead of setting standards and laws that cannot be ignored by citizens and changing them before instead of reporting the after. The new laws that are being passed more recently are too recent to display any significant changes. Governor Ron DeSantis is also reaching for the death penalty for those convicted of child rape. These new laws would put a greater weight on crimes involving children, but this won't touch the other areas of human trafficking that include women and men. In Ukraine, due to the war, a lot of people are facing instability and are vulnerable to human trafficking, but their government is implementing an anti-trafficking plan, which consists of helplines that are available 24 hours a day, along with awareness material at border checkpoints and registration centers. In France, they have developed an interministerial mission for the protection of women against trafficking in human beings. As of now, they have 4 main aims, which are to engage the public, create a strategy, guarantee unconditional protection, and coordinate public action at a national and local level, and finally, further and strengthen international cooperation. The first aim, which is to include the public on the issue of human trafficking, also aims to educate young people on human trafficking to raise awareness and warn them of the risk of exploitation. The second aim is to set a strategy to identify trafficking victims so that they are effectively protected and cared for. The third aim is to guarantee unconditional protection to minors who are victims of trafficking and speed up the dismantling of criminal networks. The fourth aim is to coordinate public action at national and local level, and finally, further strengthen international cooperation. The Alliance Against Trafficking in Persons includes the countries of Belize, Costa Rica, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, Mexico, Nicaragua, and the Dominican Republic, and consists of them joining forces to prevent and combat human trafficking. The Alliance aims to develop joint strategies and combine individual efforts to strengthen the prevention of human trafficking. They plan to do this by delivering expertise, investing in people, and providing the tools needed. How it works. The UNODC helps deliver expertise by helping countries to draft, develop, and review the laws, policies, and action plans they need to effectively combat human trafficking. They invest in people by training and mentoring the people who use these instruments to apprehend, prosecute, and convict traffickers and protect and support the victims. They build networks by forming partnerships with international, governmental, and non-governmental organizations and support joint investigations into trafficking crimes. They provide the tools by supplying studies, toolkits, and model laws for training, research, and policy reform purposes that provide evidence-based and up-to-date knowledge. The United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime is also working on Sustainable Development Goals, which can prevent things like poverty, hunger, and present good health and quality education and many more benefits, which can lead to lower levels of human trafficking because people will not need to search as far for stability and safety. This is a graph showing the 17 Sustainable Development Goals being encouraged by the UNODC in order to combat human trafficking as best as they can. In this graph, some of the goals included in the 17 can relate directly to human trafficking, such as no poverty and gender equality. Poverty. Solving the problem and getting people off the street and food to eat would decrease the number of prey that traffickers can reach. Because if the government offers them what they need before a trafficker can, they would be less likely to fall into that trap and avoid becoming a victim. Gender equality. Gender inequality could be another problem victims face. The majority of people trafficked are women and girls. This is because traffickers have an idea of women in their minds that they look forward to. And the most frequent types of trafficking are sex and labor. And because of the way that society is set up from the beginning, the predators immediately relate that to women, and therefore that is who they seek after, as opposed to a woman who works and has an education and knows her identity. In this graph, it can clearly be seen that in 2018, Florida had some of the most frequent hotline activations regarding human trafficking cases. This can either be good or bad. It can show that Florida has the best reporting system for these types of cases, but it can also just mean that Florida has the overall most cases in America, which is a huge problem which should be decreasing and not creating one of the quickest growing industries. A solution that I think can be put in place in Florida to limit human trafficking is age verification. I think that minors should be required to have their ages verified on social media platforms to at least limit what they see or restrict them from using the sites at all. Another solution I think could have an impact on trafficking in Florida is greater regulations for truck drivers. This would consist of full cooperation to stopping human trafficking, such as agreeing to searches, reporting suspicious activity, and training on how to identify a person in distress when they don't say it, or even being able to identify a predator. Another solution I think can be applied is better economic opportunity. Traffickers find it easy to manipulate those who are struggling financially and are in need of a solution. The addition of better welfare and economic opportunity would stop the problem before it even begins. There could be laws put in place that would require a baseline of education, welfare, and economic opportunity that would allow everyone the chance to live and not just survive. And here are my works cited. Thank you so much for listening to my presentation.